If I could describe a farmer in 3 words, hardworking would be number 1.
Farmers are the most creative people.
I think farmers are the most selfless people.
Reliable,
dedicated,
resilient,
passionate,
essential.
Hello everyone, my name is Alex Martin and I am the editor of Seed World magazine, and today I am so happy to host Bryan Gerard, who is president of Jomar Seeds. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bryan.
Good day, Alex.
Thank you. We are here at the American Seed Trade Association's very final CSS and Seed Expo in Chicago before we move to Orlando next year. But we've had a great week looking at different topics, and today Bryan's going to help us dive into kind of an interesting topic, which is how independent companies are handling the carbon market and what he's kind of seeing around the subject. Again, thank you for joining me, Bryan. Let's start with some introductions, just for those who might not be as familiar with you. Can you kind of introduce yourself, Jomar Seeds, and your role with the company?
Yes, my brother Greg and I are co-owners. I'm president, he's the CEO, and we are a wheat licensing company. So we represent wheat breeding programs, license the varieties they develop to the independent seed companies. So our customer base are those independent seed companies. And due to the nature of our job, we get into a lot of business conversations because there's a confidentiality aspect to it. So the information we're given really allows us to enter excellent conversations, talk about different ideas, deal with issues that are coming up that the independents, that maybe don't understand or they struggle with, and so it's a wonderful experience that we have, and then we love being able to bring, in our case, wheat to them to help grow their business.
How are independents working in the carbon market and sustainability space?
It's pretty foggy still. The independents are watching maybe the multinationals or the large ag retailers who have a program put in place and how that adapts, and they're struggling with just definition. What is a carbon program? What is a sustainability program? And then trying to figure out, how do I connect that to my business? How do I create one? If I can't create one, where can I go and partner with one? What does that look like? What's the opportunity for the grower? What's the opportunity for myself? And so there's this cloudiness that is such a big unknown. And there's a little bit of frustration seeing it just march so fast, with a lot of energy from the government level, a lot of energy from some very maybe deep private money. And so as they try to figure this out, and then they see the multinational competition already maybe a step ahead, or they see a food company or a grain company have this program in place, and it's driving a system forward that they're just not sure how to participate in or even how to define it so they can put together a strategic plan.
Yeah, and it's hard because I know the carbon market is rather new for our industry, so it's hard to figure out where the place is for everyone.
It is, and their number one concern has to be, how does it connect to my customer, and does it matter to my customer? And they need to have those conversations, such as, okay, as you go to your farm and your practices, are you buying into carbon programs? What are you doing to be different? And you ask the question, what do you need from us? What are you looking for from us to be able to continue to be a place you're going to purchase your seed from?
What do you see as kind of one of the greatest challenges that independents are facing in that area, besides just definition of where they're supposed to end up?
I think it's the financial piece. In some respects you can say, okay, is it potentially a new revenue source, or is it a way of holding on to my current business that I have? But the reality is, you are also looking at, how do I participate, bring value to myself, bring value to my customer, especially when I can't maybe have the connections that some of my larger competitors have, or they don't have the expertise to put that program together, or they don't have the expertise to track it, to monitor it. And I think that's their biggest concern, because what would happen if, and in our case wheat, what if a mill would say, we're accepting wheat from a company that you have to grow it under their sustainability model, to help them with their end use customers. And that's a real fear. I actually heard of places this year where a couple companies lost some sales over that exact situation, and now they're sitting there, what do we do? And they, in a lot of respects, maybe don't know where to turn. and to get some help on it. And then, if we're being very honest, a lot of us don't believe in it, right? They just don't believe in carbon capture, or they don't believe in climate change. And my comment to them has been, it doesn't matter if you do or you don't. You're an entrepreneur, and in your business model right now, those are major issues, and you have to learn how to participate and utilize them to grow your business. And that's probably the hardest conversation to have, because it's a very deep, passionate belief.
Yeah, and it's hard too, because that's the way our political landscape is shaping up to be right now. Focus on sustainability, focus on carbon sequestration and things like that. And it kind of seems like that needs to be something businesses consider for the future.
It is, and one is they do need to depoliticize it. You know, there are a lot of things in our industry that maybe could be politicized. You know, say Farm Bill's coming up. There are going to be elements of the Farm Bill C companies like, others are going to fight against. But whatever comes out, they learn to live within that system. And I think they have to depoliticize, okay, who seems to be the leading political party on driving in this particular issue, whether it's carbon, and they need to look at it differently. They need to say, okay, it's my world. I need to be able to participate in it. How best can I do that? And how best can I do that to serve my customer and also assist my business, you know, continuing to flourish in the environment? And it's really hard if you're not emotionally or intellectually blocking that thought process, and it is very hard, and you know, I'm hoping that as we continue to have it be more of a normal conversation and maybe look at it from a real perspective, and just over time, then the key is, are you too far behind? How do you participate? Are there someplace I can go out and quote unquote license a sustainability plan or a carbon capture plan? Are there those companies out there that have created these that I can, you know, license from them and utilize my system? And I think partnering. And if I'm an independent company, you got to go knock on the doors of food companies or the big grain companies saying, hey, we actually are maybe small enough to help create a sustainability program so you can now, you know, have a better understanding of how the grain you're purchasing, the seed was grown, and then how the grower is growing it, so you have a story to tell socially. One of the things I will say, though, that seems to insulate the independents is they don't have that pressure of maybe the social shaming if they don't have a policy, right? And so they don't have that same motivation that a larger company, which just cannot afford that negative publicity, or they could be a target of negative publicity.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You know, so to kind of stem off of that, do you think it's kind of difficult right now for smaller companies to break into that carbon market? And what is the biggest issue they're facing competition-wise there?
Well, competition-wise, I just look at it, it's another area where it's only for the big guys. And that's a false mindset, but that is because they've led it. The larger companies have led this path, and rightfully so. And instead, they need to flip that mindset. But that is their biggest challenge: is we just don't know what to do. They don't have a vision to see how to participate in it. I think one thing that would help is, you know, if there's companies out there that have created sustainability that aren't directly in the seed business, is maybe they do partner with independent seed companies, and now all of a sudden, you know, that sustainability plan that a company has, that may be in the grain side, or maybe it's in the milling side, it's not the same thing, or maybe the food side, or maybe it's just a company that is willing to license out or put other companies under their sustainability plan. That's where they need to go. And I think that piece of the industry could be a leader by going to independent seed companies and capturing those companies and having their model, which I think would then be a great marketing tool for them to go back into grain and food companies and go, look, we've got these 20 different brands now under our sustainability plan that we can bring to you all the supply you're going to need. And so that is a gap that I think from the other side into the independents would give a lot of guidance and help, and they would become that expert.
Sure. No, I think that's a fantastic point to make. Being scared is terrible, and it's just better to sometimes dive right in there. It's not just for the big guys. It's
is
space for everyone. Do you see, we kind of talked about maybe some ways that you could license or partner with different organizations. Do you see a way in the carbon market that maybe independents could partner with larger organizations to, create new carbon and sustainability?
I do. I mean, obviously we're a licensing company, but if you look at our industry, and quite honestly, probably most industries, licensing is a major component of that. And sitting down and doing things with your competitors is a part of doing business now. And I think those collaborations, they're really healthy. And I think since most independents are already involved with multinationals and some type of collaboration with maybe companies that help support our sector, they just need to take that same approach as they look at, how do I connect? How do I integrate myself into what the carbon programs are out there? I also know that what I truly believe is they ought to also maybe start looking at their state governments. And okay, so our state governments want to have programs. How do I participate in those? How do I get help from there? Maybe there's some NGOs, maybe there's some foundation monies that would help set programs up. There's all kinds of conservation programs and NGOs, that have got some wonderful plans. In Michigan, there's one that's being done with maybe Ducks Unlimited. I have to go back, I don't remember, so I could be wrong on that, but there's someone in Michigan, like that kind of a group or conservancy group that's putting them under a sustainability plan. There's no reason seed companies cannot go try to pursue that and attach themselves to that to help grow their business and bring that as a service to their growers.
No, that's perfect. And I think I just had one last question for you today, Bryan. Realistically, what do you see as some solutions on the horizon for independents as they kind of tackle this carbon market conundrum and challenges?
Number one, they have to create a strategy. They have to, so I guess number one, the acceptance. Number two, create the strategy. 3, go execute the strategy. In between 2 and 3, if you have gaps of knowledge or gaps of skill, then go ask. Find the people who are experts in that area. There are plenty. Say, hey, what can I do? And then talk to the growers. And I think if they do those pieces and they keep their entrepreneurial spirit, they'll find out who to connect to. And once that happens, they'll see how to just fold that in to what they're doing. I think our industry's been phenomenal in their practices over the last 50 years. We're probably one of the most sustainable, carbon-friendly industries, no matter what anybody says. I mean, if you just look at the facts, we are. And so we're already participating in a customer base that's been doing phenomenal practices. And it's now kind of becoming more formalized and monetized, and also a feel-good, I don't want to say feel-good, but it's a good story from a societal perspective. And I think we have to capture that. More importantly, as an independent, a lot of them are rural. If we want to capture and retain skilled young people come into our business, because there's a lot of skilled jobs that are going to be coming up because of AI and data analysis and all of that, they're cause-oriented generation. They believe in this stuff. So now all of a sudden you can say, look, we're working. If you come to this job, you're dealing with sustainability and climate change and providing solutions. And so all of a sudden it becomes attractive. Now I have better talent in my company, more modern talent in my company, and it'll allow me as an independent to flourish. So there's a direct win, and there's going to be some collateral wins.
I think that is the perfect way to end our conversation today, Bryan. Thank you so much for joining me. And to everyone at home watching this video, thank you so much for joining us as well. We hope you learned something of value, and at the very least, there's a lot of solutions on the horizon when it comes to the carbon market. We'll just have to see how it pans out now. We have been here at the ASTA, CSS, and Seed Expo for a couple of days now, so there will be more giant views to come out. And until then, we hope you will have an absolutely wonderful day.